So we are on Boston's Pier 4. We actually used to come down here for special events to Anthony's Pier 4. I'm not sure if they still have it. I don't think they do. I think it's called something else right now. And there are a lot of high-rises now here. There weren't very many, and I think the Boston World Trade Center is on the right coming up, if I recall correctly. And that would be the port where a lot of ships would dock, or cruise ships, merchant ships, whatnot. And Anthony's Pier 4 was off to, actually, you know what, it's about, I think, around where this area is. And so it looks like maybe they've knocked it down and built another building, because I'm sorry, the World Trade Center is on the left. So that's the World Trade Center right there. And you could see it from Anthony's Pier 4, which would have been back, yeah, their apartments back there now. So, oh, sorry to see that go. When we would go there, Anthony, who I believe was Greek, he, you know, would maitre d' as often as he could, even, and I don't know how long he lived, into his 80s or 90s or something. And every time we went, he greeted us. He was very kind. And then this is D Street, and you will find the No Name Restaurant, which was, I believe it was my friend Rick Marlette that told me about the No Name Restaurant. It is off to the left, and it is closed right now. So what we're gonna do is drive on down to Pier 4 at the end, and then we'll come back. Wow, this has really been built up. This is really nice. So they have Legals, Harborside. I also remember, I think Pier 4 was where they had the Big Apple Circus, where we would bring my charges. And it was a great circus. It was a family-owned single ring circus. I believe their hometown was New York City. And I'm not sure where they trained, but it would have been in New York somewhere. But they were a Tony Award winning, I believe, you know, circus. I don't know if they're still around or not, but if they are, definitely go see the Big Apple Circus. They were big in the 80s, the 90s, and one of my dreams when I got married was to have children and take my children to the Big Apple Circus. So let's go down this way. We're going to go where I'm not going to stop there, because I have had plenty of leftovers at home, and I know that they're closed anyway. But me and fried foods, I like fried foods, they don't like me. So I had a little leftover of that big leftover that I had from Maine Coast Lobster. Remember them? So the No Name, I believe, is exactly right where this, yeah, where it's right there. That's where I believe they used to have their restaurant. And so they would do a daily catch and serve that daily catch. You know, on their specials and whatnot. I have to look at what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking you to the right place. So we're going to take a little tour of downtown Boston. Oh, another sort of memory that I have down here, going back up the Pier 4. This is Street D. So going back into Boston on Pier 4, there was a little bitty nightclub, and somebody I worked with at the folk production company, I recall, did a show there, which was very fun. And there's Morton's Steakhouse. And I'm going to have to get off and look at the maps just to make sure that I know exactly where I'm going. So let's see some more good stories. Some of these, I'm trying to not repeat myself, but I've made several takes to be for sure that either I'm not repeating myself or I'm not putting too many placeholders. I recall a group of us had gone to Legal Seafoods for, I don't remember why, and I had to go back out to the car. When I came back into Legals, this was downtown in Boston, there was a payphone in that little interior portion between the outside doors and the inside doors. So I was at the payphone and somebody whizzed by me, and I looked. I was hanging up as the person whizzed by me, so they held the door open for me. I saw just a side of their face, a little bit of their nose and cheek, and I thought, goodness, that looks like Drew Carey. And so I walked behind this person, and he turned down the direction I was going, had one hand in his pocket, signature Drew Carey, walk, hairstyle, everything. So when I got back to my group, I said, I think I just saw Drew Carey. And I don't know if it was that night that somebody said something, or later when I was talking to someone, they said, yeah, Drew Carey is in town for doing a show. So that must have been Drew Carey. One of the funniest stories, and these are all, I was always running into somebody famous in Boston. When I worked as a nanny, let's see, so I was full-time as a nanny for 3 years, and then I worked part-time at the health club at HealthWorks, and then I also worked part-time at the production company, the music production company, so I juggled several jobs. And I babysat for a family across the street who had 2 little girls. And the mother said, I'd like you to go meet my friend. I won't tell you the name. So we went, we sat up in the attic, and anyway, her friend, the husband was the principal of one of the Cambridge elementary schools. And when we drove into this part of Cambridge, it was very, very quaint, very well kept up. And I thought, wow, for principal, this is kind of a good setup. And I thought, well, maybe the wife is an attorney or something. You know, you could tell, you know, even the smaller homes were a lot of money. I mean, it could have been a 1,200, 2,400 square foot, 3,000 square foot house, and would have still been near maybe $1,750,000, $1 million, maybe over $1 million in this part of Cambridge. This house was maybe 3,000 square feet or something. A modest 2-story with an attic and a basement. However, I noticed that they had original artwork from the masters, which I won't tell you who. And then I knew something was up. So we went upstairs, we were talking, and this friend wanted to know all about my life, so I told her everything. And oh, here's the Boston Tea Party off to the left. We're gonna actually go down there and take a look at that. So there they are. I think it's the ship to the right. This is terrible. I'm being a driving hazard to the poor person behind me, who's being very patient. Thank you, my friend. So this is dedicated to my friend Charla, who, when we were in Japan in 2008, didn't mind disrupting people's harmony by buying the biggest buggy there was in the world and toting it down every street in Tokyo. And we watched the sea of Japanese people part. And she said, I'm just disturbing everybody's harmony, everybody's chi. Anyway, that's a story for another time. So this friend had just gone to her, or I don't know if she had just gone to, but had gone to, was in her sister's wedding party. And on the way back to this woman's house, she said, did you recognize anyone in the wedding party? I said, no. She said, you of all people. I guess I developed a reputation for knowing trivia or talking about movies, music, and whatnot. I don't know. And I said, why? She said, well, that was Linda McCartney's sister. Somebody's waving at me, and I can't look at him because I'm too embarrassed. I think they're flipping me off, and I'm too embarrassed to look at them. I deserve it. They missed the green light, so here we're sitting here. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I will catch you around. Thanks for going with me to Pier 4, and if I get up the courage, I'll look over and I'll smile. Okay, bye-bye.